Hello everybody and welcome to Vicky, Pattison, The Secret To. This week I am joined by the DJ who stole our hearts on I'm a Celeb and the etiquette coach who's going to steal our hearts on this pod. It's Will and Jordan, everybody. Woo!
Hey!
Oh, hello.
Thank you for having us.
You're so
thank you.
welcome. Oh, right, so I feel like there's a fucking whole host of different accents on this pod already. Right, so Jordan, you're obviously from up north.
Yes.
Whereabouts in particular?
I never mention it. It's called Burnley, a town in Lancashire.
Stop.
I'm very proud to come from there. I support the football team.
Yeah.
I often harp on about that. And William is from Bristol.
Yes, I'm not from the north. I'm just going to spoiler alert for anyone listening. I'm from Bristol, which is a love. Have you been?
I have been. I actually did a photo shoot there earlier in the year in, oh gosh, was it Bristol? No, it was Bath.
Well, close enough.
Is it close enough? Okay,
Yes.
Amazing, yeah. But it was a beautiful, and then I'm sure I did, do you know what I did in Bristol? I filmed Catchphrase.
Oh, right, yes.
I knew I'd been, yeah.
Yes, I think that's done in Bristol.
Yeah, Will, it's absolutely lush there, by the way.
It is. It's lovely, and I'm personally responsible for how Bristol looks. So thank you. I will pass that on to my team of city planners.
And Jordan, I feel like I didn't compliment Burnley, and it wasn't intentional.
It's more difficult though.
Don't worry, we don't often get compliments, but it's a lovely part of the world. It's a great small town with really down-to-earth, hard-working, lovely, genuine people.
Lovely salt-of-the-earth people. Probably very similar to where I'm from. My friend's from Bolton, like one of my best mates. Like, is that close?
Yeah, that's like half an hour away, just outside of Manchester. And there's something about Bolton because it just produces the best personalities. You got Peter Kay, Paddy McGuinness from there, Sarah Cox, Vernon Kay. There's so many like real good TV and radio personalities and comedians from there. We've got a girl that's starting on Radio 1 very soon. I think she's from Bolton as well. So there's something about that town.
Gosh.
Oh,
this is the Hollywood of the UK.
It's the Hollywood of the North is Bolton.
Hollywood of Lancashire. I had no idea, but I mean, I went to uni with her and I did drama, media and cultural studies at uni. She did, I'm so off on a tangent now, but she did film studies, but she is funny. Like she's got she's got bags of personality. So that doesn't surprise me what you've just said.
Yeah, definitely. Who did you go to uni with?
My friend, like the one I was telling you about. Peter Kay. That's same year and everything. Right, so you guys are a bit of an unlikely friendship, but you've managed to not only get super close, but also create a pretty successful podcast. Tell us all about it.
Yes, well, it's so Jordan and I have known each other for about 12 years or so, and we met in Manchester when Jordan was on work experience at the BBC, and I was a guest on 5 Live, and Jordan was responsible for showing me around.
Even 12 years ago, he was claiming to be the UK's leading etiquette expert. He was 21 years old. We were both 21, and he was claiming then that he was the UK's leading etiquette expert.
Listen, I think I was ahead of the curve because now it's all about, manifesting and putting things out into the universe. I did that 12 years ago, and look, it's become the truth. I'm living my own truth.
And Vicky, when we first met, and we both say this, we never thought we'd be friends. I made him a cup of tea in a chip mug, and he was absolutely mortified.
Was he fuming about it?
Yeah, and I thought he was like in his early to mid-30s. He was married to a librarian wife. How wrong was I? I thought he had a wife, and he'd go home and put his cardigan on every night and read books and listen to Mozart.
Yeah, bits of that are true.
And yeah, we became friends. We went to I moved in with 2 friends of mine from Manchester, and William was mutual friends with him, and he came round to a house party. And I've told this story so many times, but it's true. My friend said to me, I've got a mate coming around tonight. He probably won't like each other, just don't be rude. I was like, yeah, fine. And I think he said to William, he won't be your cup of tea, just don't be rude. Uh-huh. And that night, it was the Olympics party, weren't it? That's how long ago, 2012.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was a while ago.
We had an Olympics open ceremony party, and William just took the mick out of me all night. He took the piss out of me all night, and I just thought, this is the funniest man I've ever met. And we've been friends ever since.
That's always a good basis for a friendship.
I just remember we had an American with us, and all night he was just getting little snidey marks about Americans, and I was just like, "Who is this guy?"
Oh, and he's been firm friends ever since then.
Yes, indeed. And then our friend Stuart suggested that he went, podcasts are coming back. This was sort of at the end of 2017, and he runs a production company, and he said, let's just do a couple of episodes as a bit of a test, just more for his benefit rather than ours. And then he sort of assigned us our now long-suffering producer, Ben. And 284 episodes later, here we are today.
Oh my God! So you have been proactive about it, haven't you?
Yeah, we thought we'd get 2, maybe 4 series out of it, because we started doing series, and now we do every week. And we've done 3 sold out tours as well. So we record it every week, but we are genuinely really good, like, best mates. I'm doing a reading at his wedding in September.
Oh, stop! Congratulations, Will. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
yes,
welcome.
He's getting married to a builder from Wakefield.
No, I'm not. Don't
I would love it if you were.
People say to me all the time, "Are you actually friends?" And he's coming round to mine for dinner tea on Thursday. So we might be going out, William, because ours is.
That's fine. Are we going to come to yours first and have sort of canapes?
Come to mine first. Canapé, yeah. Come to mine first, but the flat's in a bit of a shit tip, so we might just go to the pub near me and get some of it then. But that's dinner at my house, anyway. That's tea at mine, Vicky.
How lovely.
So I imagine dinner at your house and then dinner at Will's house is a very different affair.
Yeah.
Yes, on newly upgraded dining room chairs now. We were slightly delayed, listeners, restarting this because I had to take a delivery of new dining chairs through my back passage, but they were very nice. The back of the side of the house,
of course.
But they were very nice. The delivery man, you see, you get what you pay for. They brought them in. You buy them in pairs. They brought them in their boxes, and I thought, oh, okay, well they'll just drop them there, and then after the recording,
They were wearing their underpants.
What?
They were coming in.
No, boxes,
okay.
Not boxers. And I thought, well, they'll.
Lucky you. No wonder you paid more for it, you dirty get.
No wonder I was late. And no, but I thought, they'll drop them there and sort of I'll sign for them and then they'll go. And after the recording, I'll unbox them. But no, they unboxed them. They took off all the plastic and all the polystyrene and all the awful stuff that comes on furniture now, and then took everything away. So marvelous.
Oh, that is a real job well done.
Yes, I know that I'm a rare example of quality delivery service.
Have you got shares in this company, Will? Or...
No, but I should.
I wanted to ask you, I mean, not that I don't want to talk about your dining room chairs, Will. I feel like I have to say them.
It's what the listeners want.
Yeah, I have to say them at the end of this. My interest is piqued. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the pod because I love new podcasts because it gives me a chance to work, but not wear makeup.
Yeah.
Like literally, am I wearing pants? Who knows? You know, I love the relaxedness of it. But when you take it on tour, that to me is going into real work territory. It feels scary. It feels like nerve-wracking again. Like, what made you want to take it on tour?
Well, I like talking to lots of people that are physically in front of me. I mean, that's what I do in my day job. I have groups of, whether they're, I think the biggest one before we started doing the tour, I mean, well, at school, actually, going back to school, we do readings in chapel every morning. I would take it in turns, and that was in front of 700 people. So it's sort of talking to large groups of people doesn't massively faze me. And then with my day job, when it's just me and sort of having to improvise, I can be talking to up to 100, 200 people sometimes. Jordan, on the other hand, he's a fascinating creature on so many levels. But Jordan is incredibly good on stage when he goes on and sort of Dr. Theatre takes over and the adrenaline kicks in. But leading up to that moment, Jordan is a nervous wreck. Yeah. Because in his day job and on the podcast as well, podcast he's just talking to me. Yeah. And on his day job, he's talking to Vic or just to himself before the drive show, and millions are listening, but he can't see them.
Exactly. Yeah. You see, I get that, Jordan. That's where I'm coming from.
People just think that I'm a lot better now than what I used to be, but I got terrible stage fright. I remember when I was in local radio and I on stage hosting an event, and I just left halfway through. Like I left the stage because I just couldn't get back on. Physically couldn't get back on. I felt awful. But yeah, William doesn't mind it so much. But I'm all right once I'm on. Once I'm on for the first 10 minutes, and a couple of jokes have landed and stuff, it's fine. But I think the reason why we wanted to do it was we just started realising that we had these real loyal listeners that were listening every week, and we were like, let's go out on tour for a laugh, and let's kind of do the podcast, but with some added extra live elements. So when we go on tour, it's not just our podcast on stage. And I've been to see lots of podcast shows, and there's nothing wrong with that because I love them, where it's just literally the podcast on stage in front of an audience, and that's fine, that's great. But we kind of put on a show, and, we write little skits, and we have a lot of music and sketches and.
Big dance number at the end.
Big dance number at the end. And the last tour, the whole premise of it was William's stag do, because he famously said, and it's a meme that now pops up every 6 months. We get tagged in it. He was on this morning with a Geordie lad who said stag do's are mint. And
oh my God, I remember.
Yes, and it always pops up as a meme saying Britain in one
The
sentence.
two types of British men.
The two types of British men, and William said he would famously never go on a stag do. So we were like, let's take him on 12 stag. Was it 12 we did?
It felt like it. Yeah, it was enough.
We did a tour. So we went to Newcastle, Edinburgh, Manchester, London.
All the hotspots.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the premise of the tour was William's stag do.
I'm obsessed. I'm actually gutted I didn't get an invite now. Tell me what you did.
Well, I think the low light was being tied to a chair with 3 dressing gown belts and a pair of fluffy pink handcuffs. Because we should also just point out, Jordan has been known, revealed on our podcast inadvertently. He protests that he didn't mean what he said. I don't believe him. Jordan Jordan presented the fact that he might be, of an evening, a little bit kinky.
No, right, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. A listener once texted in asking if I was kinky, and I said no. And Vicky, as a joke, I said, I have been tied up with a dressing gown belt before. It was funny, right? And it's just snowballed from there. Now people think I'm into dressing gown belts. I've got this kink where I want to be tied up with and it's just snowballed from there. And sometimes, Vicky, you've just got to own it. It's loads of
with it, babe.
Yeah, and it's like what you say, the lady doth protest. And I was like, I've not, it was a joke, but now I'm just like, right, sack it. And we've even got like merchandise dressing gown belts that we sell.
Just gonna say, babe, like I've got my marketing head on here, and you're missing a trick if you don't get on that train. Honestly.
Oh, don't worry, we've got Help I Sexted My Boss steamers, to steam your clothes. We've got all. I
still don't. A friend said to me the other day, they went, "Why are you doing steamers?" And I went, "I can't really remember." I said, "I can't."
They were cheap.
Cheap.
We've got a whole load cheap.
We said something, and then the lovely people at Swan who do the steamers got in touch and said, "Oh, let's do our own." But I can't really remember what we said to promote to initially that we went down the steamer route. But there we go.
If I don't get a Help I Sexted My Boss steamer after this, I'm going to be gutted, mate.
I'm sure we can arrange that.
Leave it with us.
Amazing. Can I just ask, was the podcast tour after the pandemic? Is that when you started that, or did you start?
No, we've toured pre-pandemic. Right, okay. I think we did a couple of shows in 2019, London and Manchester. Then we did start of 2020, just before, and then
we toured and finished, I think, 3 weeks before lockdown, wasn't it? And we kind of knew it was coming, and then we started another tour in the summer of 2020, thinking that. Well, was it meant to be in the summer of 2020?
It was meant to be in early. I mean, it got moved. The one that we did in 2021. We did start of 2020, then we did autumn 21, and then we've just done spring 2022.
And just got delayed, and yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare.
Have you noticed a difference between the audiences before and after? Like, I feel like even in myself, I was like, oh, it's not going to change me and all the rest of it. But like post-pandemic, like I'm so grateful for things, like big social things like birthdays, whether it's I don't mean for this to be triggering, Will, but whether it's a hen do, whether it's like whatever it is, I'm so excited to be there. I wondered if the audience was the same.
Yeah, definitely. I've noticed that. Like, people are just so happy to be out. William doesn't like it. He often goes to the West End and he loves musicals, and he's
I love
obsessed.
musicals too.
He is obsessed with Mary Poppins. He went last night to watch it. He goes to watch Mary Poppins every week.
No.
Yeah,
well, not
honestly.
quite every week, but
Most weeks.
Yeah.
Is it a feel-good thing for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, I was
love that.
obsessed with the Poppins books as a child, and obviously the film, and then the new film. And I first saw the Mary Poppins show in 2004. It actually did its pre-West End tryout in Bristol. So there's a sort of I went to see it. I was sort of, a friend said, "Oh, I've got this free ticket. Do you want to go and see it?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I love Poppins. Of course I'll see it." And then since then, I have been borderline obsessed. And then of course it's moved into London since 2019. It's the first time it's been somewhere where I have lived and had disposable income enough to go to it, which is why my total time seeing it has sort of racked up relatively quickly.
30, what is it, 30?
Last night was 37.
37 times. But he says, because audiences are now so happy to be out the house and back at live shows, every show gets a standing ovation. And it used to be really rare, didn't it? But now it's every night. And you don't like that, do you, Mr. Hanson?
Well, I don't mind it for Poppins because it's richly deserved, but depending on who's on. But the you can do. I mean, you can watch absolute sort of mediocrity, and it's still fun mediocrity, and you've had a nice night, but they're up.
Yeah.
The audience are up, or they can't behave beforehand. I mean, I went to go and see Sister Act. We've talked about this on our podcast very recently, but the audience behaviour was atrocious. And I think maybe
in your opinion, what does that mean? Atrocious.
So just on their phones during the show.
Shitty. No, that is shitty.
And lots of people that have the flash notification when an alert comes in. So not only does the screen light up, but then the floor lights up around you. That's not great.
I agree with you there, actually. I thought it was you were going to be like very pedantic, but no, I agree with you there.
Rustly popcorn in packaging, although last night...
That's pedantic.
No, it's not. Last night, though, at Poppins, delighted, I went to go order some minstrels because I was in the process of having some pre-minstrel tension. And so I ordered some. It's an old joke.
I still love it.
I ordered some, and the barman, in fact, without even asking, I was slightly mortified, opened the packet, and I thought, why is he opening the packet for me? And then he decanted it into a plastic cup, and he went, there we go, so it won't rustle. And I thought, yes, why don't more theatres do this? Excellent.
That's ingenious, actually.
Yeah.
How much were they then? I bet they're about £5, weren't it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not cheap as a theatre.
I got around it at Sister Act because I went to see Sister Act 2. I got around it at Sister Act, and I'm not joking, it was £70
It's fucking madness, isn't it, mate?
Mad,
You get your eyes open down here, don't you?
My mum and dad were there, and there was a good few of us, so I got around it, and 2 packs of chocolate. It was £70. Yeah, nearly sick.
I think a trip to the theatre, like, it always opens my eyes. Like, my mum, because obviously she's still up north, John, but whenever she comes down, we're fans of the theatre as well, Will, so I love to take her. And we're not fussy on the show. Like, we've done loads of different ones over the years. Like, I think the last one I took her to see was Jersey Boys. It just
love it.
It was so good. I was really, like, not excited, didn't think I knew any of the songs, but it was amazing. Anyway, you're looking at, like, in excess for 2 people, if you want good tickets, £300.
Well, this is the thing. You shouldn't pay, because I think it's worth like paying £50, £60, because obviously it pays all the performances and stuff. But yeah, we were talking about this recently. I don't think you should be paying more than £100 a ticket each, but some are like 220, £300. You wouldn't pay that, would you, William? It's worth. I think going to the theatre is worth. I don't know. It's hard. It's all relative, isn't it?
Have you got any little hacks to get cheaper tickets than Will?
Oh, he did it yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, here we go. I'm gonna go make a brew, but go on, you do it.
Have I got them fired up? Have I?
This is the secret to not having to remortgage. This is the secret to not having to remortgage to go to a London theatre. Now, I should just caveat this for those outside of London. For touring productions, very rarely do they do what I'm about to discuss. Okay, so touring productions are sadly slightly more expensive because obviously you've got costs of touring the show. But within London, a lot of the shows, such as Poppins or The Lion King, Frozen, Beauty and the Beast, do day seats. And it's normally about 10:30, sometimes 12 o'clock. Go on the website, it'll tell you. Will release day seats for £30 or £25-30 per seat. You can normally only buy 2, so if you're going with a whole army of people, it's not for you. But if you are going with a whole army of people, get in touch and ask what discount they can do, because often they will give you discounted seats. If you are buying 8 seats, they'll do it at a discount. So yeah, you can get day seats. You just have to sort of join the queue. There's no guarantee that you'll get it, but if you're sort of hovering ready to pounce on the stroke of 10:30. You get them, you get really good seats anywhere in the theatre. I got dress circle row B, so that's sort of second row in on the dress circle, middle layer. Last night, 30 quid each, marvellous.
You evil genius, you will.
That's great.
And there are also lots of other apps like TodayTix and similar ticketing apps that you can go to get discounted seats. So there are, if you look for it, there are discounts, and you don't necessarily have to pay top price as much as the theatres might want you to pay top price.
I'm going to have to give this a go because honestly, it was costing me an arm and a leg. She wants to see that Hamilton next. I'm going to have to fucking remortgage.
Yeah. Well, Hamilton is an expensive show anyway. They do, I think they do a lottery. So they don't do day seats, but they do a lottery where you can enter it the week. So if you wanted to go next week, you'd enter it this week. But obviously, Hamilton being an incredibly popular show, the chances of getting tickets are slim. My fiancé enters it every week. He is yet to win.
I want to see Tina. I really want to see Tina.
Me too, babe. I had tickets to see it, and then again the pandemic. Sort of. I mean, that's not the biggest tragedy of the pandemic.
No. 2 years of lockdown, and I couldn't get to see Tina. Hold on,
But then I rescheduled it, and the theatre still weren't open, and it went in me junk. So I was all dressed up and on my way to the theatre, and I was like, I haven't had me like reservations through. Let me just check, and it was cancelled again. I know, and like the days they rescheduled them to, I couldn't make it, and it's just been a big chew on. So, oh my god, if you want to go and see that, I am fucking down.
We're well up for it.
Yes, so excited. Have you got anything on your theatre to do, Will?
No, just Mary Poppins another 10 times, really.
You've seen Hamilton,
I'll be honest,
haven't you?
I have seen Hamilton.
Is it worth it, babe?
So Mikey, my fiance, in between working on the brick site in Wakefield, as Jordan would say, is he works in theatre, and he
a very busy man.
Yeah, he listened to the Hamilton cast recording before they went to Broadway, when it was off Broadway as doing a tryout, and that was 5-6 years ago, and we had it on in our flat in Manchester at the time a lot, so I can almost do it word for word. Now, Hamilton is very clever. The lyrics are why you go to watch Hamilton, because it's clever and it's funny and it's presenting history in an interesting way. Staging wise,
here we go.
It's just some people standing on a thing that turns around. It's
right,
quite
that's unfair. I've never seen it.
Well, then you've never seen it.
But I've never seen it, but I think we should add some balance to this. It's literally...
Well, can I finish my sentence?
It's become a phenomenon. I can't even say the word. I can't even say the word. It's become a phenomenon. People are upset,
People are obsessed because the lyrics and the music are so clever. But if you are very, very familiar with the music and the lyrics because you have had it playing non-stop for years, and then you go to see it in the theatre and you can basically do it, the sort of the cleverness of Hamilton, you're sort of aware of it, and from a staging point of view, it's fine, but it's sort of, you can't necessarily see where your money went. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It could be a podcast, is essentially what you're saying.
Yeah, just listen to it or just watch it on Disney Plus. If you want to save money, watch it on Disney Plus. Save yourself the bother. You
won't be getting any free tickets from the cast of Hamilton anytime soon?
No, probably
not. On their Christmas card list, is he?
No.
Lads, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you in part 1. I'll have you back in part 2 to talk more about your podcast and catch up a little bit about the jungle, Jordan. Hello everybody and welcome back to part 2 of Vicky, Pattison, The Secret 2. This week I am joined by lovely lads, an unlikely friendship, William Hanson and Jordan North, hosts of I Sexted My Boss. Lads, I realise I didn't ask you the premise of your podcast, and I'm sure loads of people know it, but if anyone's been living under a rock, tell them all about the premise of your podcast.
Jordan and I... It's that awkward when you can't explain it. Jordan and I look through listeners' dilemmas, and we're answering questions about modern manners or morals that sort of traditional etiquette books. This is how I describe it.
Okay.
Wouldn't cover. So all the books that you see sitting behind me in my shop that will do lovely sort of questions like how to receive a French diplomat. Or how to address a bishop during Lent, which is lovely and is very useful most of the time, may not be as applicable to your average person. So things such as what to do if you do send a naughty photograph or message to your boss by accident and you think, oh God, well, how do I get out of this? What should I do? When do I change the password on my Netflix account when I've split up with someone? People write in, Jordan and I go through it. This will come as a shock. Jordan and I sometimes give different advice. Often. Sometimes we agree.
Yeah, we do agree.
Yeah.
We agree more lately than when we first started, don't we?
He's rubbing off on each other, do you think?
Definitely. We like the first part of the podcast is just us chatting and catching up, and we drink a drink that's now become a signature drink with our podcast. It's a gin and debonnaire. So
sounds fancy.
It was the Queen Mother's favourite drink. The Queen often used to have one in the afternoon as well, but she's teetotal at the moment. So debonnaire is a French fortified wine, is it?
Correct, yes.
Vicky, it gets you hammered. It's double alcohol, so it's a double gin and a double debonnaire. And now all our listeners are obsessed with it. So we always start the podcast with that, and we have a couple and get a bit pissed, a bit squiffy, and then we answer the listeners' problems and dilemmas. And you know, we have had stuff like, what do you do if my ex is still using my Netflix password too? Recently, one that was probably one we've had the cat ate a used condom.
Oh, the boy on.
There was
Grindr.
A boy who was speaking to a man on Grindr. He was into older men. He was speaking to a man on Grindr.
Don't tell us it was his dad.
Yes, it was.
No!
Yeah, they swapped naked pictures, then they swapped face pictures and realised that it was his dad.
No.
So, there's loads. We had one this week. A girl walked in on a brother being spanked over the sofa by another man, even though
when he's married to a woman.
It all goes on. It all goes like we have that, and then we have other things like who do you serve first? At a dinner party, is it the ladies? Is it? So it can vary.
There's balance. There's balance.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I am like, no wonder you need a couple drinks, lads.
Yeah.
They're quite risky.
But we love it, and our listeners love it. And we will never reveal our sources. So if somebody writes in and they're anonymous, we will keep them anonymous.
Yeah.
We won't.
Yeah, and even Jordan and I don't see. Our lovely producer Ben sort of will take out names and email addresses and give them to us. So you can use us as a free service.
Ben is the crypt keeper then.
Exactly. I just don't. We say nothing can shock us anymore, and then every now and then one letter comes in, one email, and we're just like, shit the bed. It all goes on.
Honestly, you've seen my face when you were telling us some of them. I think everyone assumes because of my background, I'm really wild and I'm really outrageous and nothing can shock us. It's the polar opposite. I am such a prude and constantly shocked by people's kinks, people's depravity, the things people get up to. And I just could not do this. I feel like I'd spend the whole time just with my mouth wide open.
We do.
What's the most shocking one you've ever had?
Well, the Grindr father one was pretty bad.
Fuck me, Will. That's madness, that, innit?
We had one guy who walked in on his flatmate shagging a watermelon. That was pretty.
No.
Well. Yeah.
What?
They're not all like this, just for any sort of slightly more puritanical listeners.
These are the ones that are getting me interest peaked, though. I'm definitely tuning in.
There's
that one we did yesterday coming up about, it's so disgusting, and I've about VABBING.
Oh yeah, have you heard of this? Vabbing.
I was trying to say that and I was like, that can't be right.
I don't think it's a word in the dictionary, let's put it that way.
Right, so somebody wrote in saying that...
Is it like the new vaping?
Well, I hope not.
So somebody wrote in saying that they're meeting their girlfriend, their best friend's girlfriend, but his best friend told him that she vabs, and we were like, what's vabbing? And vabbing is William, do you want to...
No, I think I'll let you do this.
So vabbing, Vicky.
I had to do it yesterday.
William's like,
I am so sorry, and I'm just going to give a little warning now to your listeners. If anyone's listening, there's some kids, just
skip ahead.
Skip ahead, yeah. And please don't shoot the messenger. Vabbing is where you stick your fingers in your vagina and then dab the scent onto your neck and your wrists like it's perfume, because the smell's meant to attract the opposite sex.
I am speechless in 7 series of,
I'm sorry.
of The Secret too, Jordan.
We didn't know what it was before this. Apparently it's a TikTok trend as well.
Oh, I blame fucking TikTok for everything.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely do. What the
I know. And he was basically saying, how do I look her in the eye? He's told me that she vabs. She's a vabber. It's.
I mean, it's just disgusting.
No.
It's
animalistic is what it is. Like,
very natural.
So hang on then. He's like telling his pal, oh, she's into this. But he must be into it as well. If he's going out with her, He must like the way she smells.
I agree. And we was actually quite flummoxed. We were like, what was your advice, William? You said to put out some perfume.
Oh yes, in the bathroom. You put out some nice Christian Dior, Chanel No. 5, anything, just anything is better than nothing.
Lynx Africa.
Yes, preferable. I thought I'd never say that, but it is. And you pop it on, and then she might think, oh, my top tip. Here's the secret to a really good thing. Yeah. Christian Dior Ombre Nuit hand soap. Oh. So all my guests, Jordan, you've probably used it. It's the orange hand soap I put out for guests, and they all come out doing smelling their hands, and that it stays on your hands for days. So I would put out, I don't know why I didn't think of this in our episode yesterday, I would put out some Christian Dior Ombre Nuit hand soap, and then at least any sort of residual liquid will be washed off, and replaced with a waft of Christian Dior.
If anybody is listening to my pod who's into vabbing, did you say?
Apparently.
Yeah, that's a very good, helpful hint for them. If in case they're meeting company, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Lovely. I just don't know how you lads keep a straight face. I honestly don't.
We don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, honestly, I feel like I'm definitely going to listen after that. You have obviously got a very unlikely friendship. You are polar opposites, I suppose, but you've managed to stay friends for ages. Like, I feel like you're only getting closer. What is it you like most about each other?
Bless.
Do you really like that one?
Yes, that's nice.
That's such a good question.
We don't often do this. This is all a bit American touchy-feely, but we'll give it a go. I like Jordan's sense of humour. Jordan makes me laugh more than many people on Earth. Often deliberately, sometimes unintentionally. Jordan is very gentle and kind and generous, and he's just you very rarely leave Jordan's company. I mean, it has happened, but very rarely do you leave Jordan's company feeling annoyed.
That's such a lovely thing to say. Okay, pass the feeling stick to Jordan.
Yeah, he's all right.
Little bit of northern toxic masculinity.
Yes.
I think
that's Jordan. So toxic.
Seriously, he's one of my best mates. He, like William said, he makes me laugh every time I see him. But he's really caring and kind and very loyal. And if people ever see him on the TV or even read some of his articles in the paper, they'll be like, "Oh, who is this guy? I'd never be friends with him, or what's he on about?" And he's really not like that. And this week I've been having like loads of I've been really stressed this week trying to get something sorted.
It's a hard week. We all have.
It's been a hard week. It's been very stressful, and he has messaged me every morning, every night, and he's rung me, and he sent me a really lovely message this morning as well. Actually, today I feel better because I've got it over the line and it's all sorted. So yeah, he's a very good friend. He's always there for it. Always great for advice. Probably out of all my friends, he's the person I'd ring the most for advice.
I was actually going to ask, like, do you go to each other for advice as well?
Yes, and I'll be honest. I am very fortunate. I have quite a nice life. I feel I'm quite now grounded, and I've got my proverbial together. But a couple of years ago, there was a bit of a bumpy patch, predominantly inspired or fueled by the pandemic, as I think everybody went through. And yeah, Jordan got the first phone call with like. And it was all fine, and it's all resolved itself. It completely has gone from one extreme to the other, and we're very, very happy.
I love that. And Jordan, you've already said like he's been helping you out this week, so it's a two-way street, obviously.
Exactly. I just have so much stress in my life. Like, it seems like I'm bringing him all the time,
But you've
I
had
do-
loads of change over the last couple of years, haven't you? So I think change always brings like stress.
And if etiquette, look, I'm aware I'm not, the pandemic showed that etiquette coaches are not key workers. Bizarrely, Jordan North as a radio presenter was a key worker. I mean, what a weird world we're living in when that's designated. But if etiquette dries up tomorrow, I know I'm okay for a job because I am going to be Jordan's manager.
Okay. How does Jordan's current manager feel about this?
Well, no. He can have an agent, but then manager of day-to-day life,
PA.
getting him from place A to B, sorting out domestic things. Jordan, I'd be phenomenal at that.
Vicky, I'm chaotic at the best of times, but this is the busiest I've ever been in my life, and I'm not complaining. 'Cause, I love my job and I like being busy. And but just to give you an example, on Saturday I had a gig in Scotland in Ayr, and I got a DM. Went up to Ayr racecourses for a DJ gig, and I got a DM from the air stewardess saying hi. I thought, oh, what's this? She went, you've left your iPad on the plane. I'd left it in the seat, and then I left that, and I had to go to the airport early. It had not been handed into lost property, so I had to beg a woman to go to the other side of the airport to pick it up. And then when I went through security, I was in duty free, and somebody called my name over the tannoy. They was like, well, Jordan North, that's Jordan North to security. Jordan. I was like, Watford on, and I realised that I'd actually left my passport in the trays that you put through. And the tour manager that I go on my DJ gigs with was like, I have done this for 20 years. He's like, and you are the worst person to travel with. So it's just chaotic. So having someone like William would just... He texts me, and I always joke that he passive-aggressively texts me the night before recording saying, hi, do you want a coffee tomorrow morning? And that's his way of saying, we're recording a podcast. Are you aware?
It's just my way of trying to get Jordan in the same place as me, because I have blocked off and said no to other things because we are doing said recording. And so it's in my interest for Jordan to be there. Otherwise, it is a waste of my time.
I think, I feel like that's a very nice way of doing it. I'd be like, we've got a fucking podcast tomorrow, don't you? Like, I would not be sparing anyone's feelings. I'd be like, I've cancelled shit, mate, so you best be there.
Maybe I'll do that in future.
Yeah, try it. This is Geordie etiquette. Was a lesson from me.
I like it.
Okay.
Geordie etiquette.
But Jordan, honestly, I'm not in the habit of giving advice. I'm crap. I'm always in a rush, and I'm chaos personified. But it sounds like you're doing too much, babe. That's when I get forgetful, and that's when I can't find my laptop and things like that. Is when I'm a bit stretched too thin. So be kind to yourself, maybe. I
think I have started to realise that, and you are totally right. And the past few weeks is I've really started to just do the radio in the week, and then everything else, and start. It's just, I don't know what it is. I just can't say no to work. I feel like
because you feel really grateful as well, don't you?
And you feel like, because I've been freelance, and I've been in the pandemic before I'm a celeb and stuff, I wasn't working at all, and I hated it. So, but I'm definitely getting there with it now, and a lot of people speak to your agent. It's not my agent. I've got a really good agency, and they really care for me, and they tell me to slow down. It's me. I'm my own worst enemy, and I say to my agent, no, I can do that gig, and he's like, are you sure? Because the next day you've got to be in that recording in the morning at 9:00, and the car's coming to pick you up at 8, and then you've got to get to the radio, and I'm like, no, it's me. But I'm definitely getting better with it over the past few weeks, because I had a nightmare week about a month ago, and I said, I cannot carry on like this. This is just too much. And you're not getting the best of me on the radio, and that's what I love doing the most, the radio and the podcast. If I'm knackered and not with it, you're not getting the best.
And that's it. Like, if you are stretching yourself too thin and making assumptions, would burn the candle at both ends, whatever it is, then you do start to become this really bland, sort of very basic version of yourself. And then that doesn't sit well with me either. Then I start beating myself up over that. Then I stop sleeping, and then everything's just 10 times worse.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like we're very
I hear you.
Okay, well, I'm pleased that you're going to have some balance in your life. You fucking deserve it, mate. You've done great.
Thank you.
Well, I feel like you've been quiet for a little bit, and I do find you very fascinating. I don't know if it's because probably I'm on whatever spectrum, I'm on the opposite end in terms of poshness.
Okay,
but I do.
Words.
Yeah, your thoughts though, son. Fucking
No,
word
I
there.
said I said no, don't put thoughts in my head.
I want to know what it means to be an etiquette expert.
Gosh. So yeah, I mean, there are two. I have two. I'm sort of a slave to two masters. There is the sort of the media side of which the podcast falls in, which is anything, obviously, podcast which is discussed, to appearing on This Morning, talking about royal weddings and how to behave, or whatever it happens to be. Stag do's.
So do you have any royal gossip? Because that would just make me so excited.
But none I can tell you on this.
I'm straight in your DMs when this is done.
Okay, fine. So there's sort of that, or writing pieces for the Mail or the Sun or whoever, my books, and then there's sort of the actual proper job, which is training people in etiquette and protocol. So I'm working with a royal household from another country at the moment to train some people. I'll call it that. I've just written a manual on how to greet various, actually French, that's why I made the French reference earlier, French diplomats who are coming over to the UK for a big dinner. So what their place cards, how you style their place cards, who arrives when, who should, from the hosting team. So, which is lovely because I can just sit at home and write it. And anything in between, running dining etiquette courses for the general public, for whatever. I mean, there's all sorts of things, and there's never a dull moment. And I like the fact that I don't have a 9-to-5 job. I don't really know what I'm doing next. I mean, I do know what I'm doing next week, but it won't be the same as what I'm doing this week.
Unpredictable, keeps you on your toes.
Yes, but then at the same time, I do like having some patterns, which is why I like the podcast, because I know what train I need to get. I need to know where I need to be at what time. I've got a couple of hours where I'm sitting in a nice air-conditioned room doing this, and then I can go home. So I do like having a few things sort of to balance everything out.
Okay, so to speak.
Yes, exactly.
Giving me, and please don't be mad, because I feel like this is a very rudimentary explanation of what you do. But you know that scene in Pretty Woman?
Yes.
Where the fella teaches her about the forks and that.
I'm so like Michael Caine in every way.
Right then. Well, what advice would you give me if I was meeting someone from the royal family then?
Gosh.
Because I was 15-1 to marry Prince Harry once, you know.
Were you?
Yeah. When I came out of the jungle, everyone was like, oh, Jungle Geordie Queen meets Prince. We can see it happening 15-1. I mean, it was in the sun, like, but...
Oh, fair.
Well, you might have been better. You never know.
Oh, I wouldn't have made him fall out with his nana.
Well, exactly. Yes, I think you'd get. Family is so important to lots of people in the UK, and particularly in the north. So, I think you would have been better in that regard. Well, you move around quite a lot. That's what I've noticed.
I'm such a fidget.
Yes. And I would worry that your hand gestures or you'd knock out the Princess Royal. She'd be lying on the floor in a pool of her own blood, and you just don't want that.
Oh my God. So you're very observant, because that is completely true. It's like a running joke amongst my team that makeup artists need like an extra 45 minutes whenever working on me because I can't stay still. I think it's a nerves thing.
Yeah, well, possibly. And but also probably a relaxed thing that you are, it can be nerves, but also it can be that you are just super relaxed. So there is it can go either way. But generally, we're trying to get people to, also in negotiations as well. If you're negotiating over the table with someone, whether it's a contract or a business deal, you need to sort of keep your emotions to a minimum, because otherwise people are going to detect what you're thinking, and thus that gives them the upper hand, which is why in America they all switched about 20 years ago to glass tables, so you can see under the table to see feet positions and hand positions, so it gave everyone the advantage, because often the further away something is from our brain, such as the feet, the harder it is to control, and so often you can tell how someone's thinking by the positioning of their feet. So actually looking at their feet under the table is always quite good.
I'm like a permanent duck. Like my feet are always going. So that is so interesting. Oh, I'd be crap at being posh and at poker, actually.
Well, it's and at what?
And at poker.
Oh, at poker, yeah. Well, it's sort of that. It's sort of poker mentality, and it's not necessarily being posh. You can come from any background to sort of follow etiquette, but it also helps if you're quite uptight like me.
Oh, okay. Oh no, I have no stick up my butt. I'm like the most relaxed person ever, I think. Unless I think I would be really nervous with the Queen.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, it's understandable. Everyone goes to posh. I mean, Diana, Princess of Wales, used to laugh that she, when she was officially royal and was going around visits, and she'd go and meet sort of fairly grand 60-year-old, middle-aged, overweight mayors of provincial towns who looked so serious in their regalia, and they were so nervous they'd just start to do a curtsy when they meant to do a bow. And I think they're all they've seen it all.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think they'd be fine.
Who is the most impressive person you've ever met that you can tell about?
Oh, these are great questions.
You think?
Can I defer
good.
that? Can I defer that to Jordan before I respond? Because I need to think.
Absolutely, Jordan.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Oh, spoiler alert.
No, you go. Go on.
Well, just the Queen. I mean, you can't really beat the Queen. So, the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. So it was a while ago. Obviously, it wasn't recently. So yeah, I met both of them.
Impressive.
Really impressive. I would love to meet the Queen.
I'd say Sean Dyche, or he's a former Burnley football manager. That's quite impressive. Prince William, I've met as well.
That's a good one.
We did something for Radio 1's Teen Heroes just before Christmas. We went to. Where does he live?
Kensington Palace.
He lives in Kensington Palace, which is like a 2 up, 2 down compared to Buckingham Palace.
Yeah, it's small.
Absolute povo.
Yeah, no, it's really not. It's really not. It was great, and he was so nice. So I'd say, yeah, he was really impressive and great.
Oh, those are both brilliant ones.
How about you?
Yeah, what about you?
Oh, fuck me. Like Eamon Holmes, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
No, he is good. But to be fair, once when I was doing this morning, I met Dame Helen Mirren. She's a Dame, right?
Yes, she is. Yeah.
I met Helen Mirren.
I tell you. Sorry, carry on.
No, I just did not keep my cool. That was the end of that sentence. I ran over, told her I loved her in Calendar Girls, started like quoting bits of the film to her. It was.
And how did she react?
She was like a little bit startled because obviously like this like giant Geordie ball of energy just catapulting towards someone is a lot. But it was our like ex-SES team who really kept on their toes. They didn't know what to do with us. Bless them. The
only time I've come close to being starstruck,
like fangirling, go on,
is when and in my job, I'm very lucky. I get to meet all sorts of people and do all sorts of programs. But growing up as a child, we would listen in the car. Normally on the summer holiday, if we were driving to or from London, we'd listen to the Steve Wright Show on Radio 2, which is, of course, coming to an end. And about 6 years ago, I was invited to go onto the Steve Wright Show and then became a regular for a period of time. And it was only on that first occasion did I go, I'm going to say a rude word here. I thought, fuck me, I'm on the Steve Wright Show.
Wow.
They are clapping for me. I used to sit in the car aged 9 and listen to this show and not really understand what was going on, but kind of like it. And now I'm on this show. And that's the only time I have come close to being slightly, oh, what the hell is going on?
Oh, I love that. I think I've done the Steve Wright Show once before to talk about one of my books. And he was a lovely fella, but like, it's quite highbrow, right? Especially for someone like me.
Yeah, it's well.
He's trying to be diplomatic there. Don't worry, Vic. I know who I am.
They have highbrow moments, yes.
Yeah. So I felt like it was, I feel like you'd fit in really well there. Did you love it? Do you still love it?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah. And they got me on for 3 or 4 years. I would do a regular slot. So I enjoyed it.
I love that, babe. Well, before I let you guys go, because I know you are super busy, Jordan, lastly, did you love I'm a Celeb?
Yes. I thought you were never going to ask. No.
No, he's not lying.
I always like my mates now. Every time I mention it, they'll go beep 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 beep, like little alarm sound because I never shut up going on about it. It was the best thing I ever did. I mean, I don't think I could ever do it again. And I've made, I'm still friends with Beverly and Vernon and Shane and all the guys are all in a WhatsApp group. Best thing I ever did. And yes, and you'll know you really are that bloody hungry. People think it's all an act. You was in the jungle, we was in Wales, so we were pigging freezing. It was absolutely really cold. as the weather starts to drop in late November, December, it's really cold. But yeah, I loved it. It was the best experience of my life, and it's changed me. Not, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, you're doing great! Like you're so busy." It's like it's changed me as a person. Like I always say, if I can get in a coffin full of snakes, I can get on a plane and go to New York because I'm scared of flying. And it's just made me, I think, like I used to live in a little safe, comfortable lane, and since that show now, I'm like, I'll dip my toe in other waters and stop being scared of everything. It's the best thing ever.
It's put everything into perspective for you. So
Definitely, and everybody says it's giving you a bit of confidence, and just, yeah, I love doing it. I'm so glad I did it.
And that's exactly how I feel about it, to be fair. Like, honestly, mate, I can't even remember how long ago it was I did it now. It's been like 6-7 years.
Was it 7 years ago?
So long ago, babe, and I still actively talk about it regularly. So you can tell your friends that's going fucking nowhere.
Exactly. And I very nearly didn't do it. If it, you know, if it weren't for my mum, I probably wouldn't have done it. Because again, I taught myself out of things, and I was like, I can't do it. I was happy on the radio, and my mum rung me up and said,
"Give you a talk now."
She said, "You've got to do it. You've got to do it." She said, I'll fall out with you if you don't do it. So,
oh, but that's great advice from Mammy, because look where you are now.
Yeah, can't complain.
And Will, is there do you have any burning desires to do any reality TV shows yourself? Is there a one you watch? Is there a one you think I'd smash
Strictly.
I would seriously think about Strictly, and I know, and lots of people, Jordan's now going to go, of course you'd say yes to Strictly. Not necessarily, because I mean, I do generally like, I've gone off it a bit in recent years, but I think I just fell out of the habit of watching it. But I watch it towards the end when like the dancing's really good and the sort of semi-finals bit. I've been asked repeatedly to do Dancing on Ice.
And?
No. I'm not going to be employed by Middle Eastern households if I'm there in lycra titting around on ITV. Thank you very much. And ultimately, they pay me more. So I'm not doing that. I've got to think. If I went down a reality, especially for me, and I don't know. I've got to think very carefully about saying yes to things. So I'm not going to do I'm a Celebrity, not because there's anything against it. Jordan was fabulous, you were fabulous, but because I'm scared of rats. I also, don't need to go to Australia and that sort of thing. And even Wales I'm undecided on. But strictly I'd think about, because it has an element of skill. Like, you're going to come out with a skill of dancing. And I feel ballroom dancing etiquette adjacent. It's okay. Ice dancing, no.
Not so fancy face.
Not so fancy. So yes, I did get asked to do Mastermind, and they didn't like my specialist subject. So
which was
Keeping Up Appearances.
Why didn't
you not know it?
Is it a show?
Yeah, a BBC sitcom, 91 to 95.
Hyacinth Bouquet, right?
Yes, exactly. You do know it, yeah.
I do know.
Yeah, they clearly didn't like it. But then you watch it and people are just like, their specialist subjects sort of, the only way is Essex or something. And you think, what? Okay, why is that? Like, Keeping Up Appearances is arguably, it's the most sold sitcom around the world,
really?
Other than Faulty Towers. Why am I not, like, what?
But I'm really shocked at that. I know I nearly did a celebrity special and I wanted to do Harry Potter, and they were like, sorry, too many people have done it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
if there were loads of people that done Keeping Up Appearances, I wonder if they'd accept Mary Poppins.
Oh, absolutely, mate. They've got to. That's iconic.
Yeah.
No wrong with Towie.
No, I know. But what, like, if they've got that on, which arguably isn't as popular as the most sold sitcom around the world, why get that on and not Keep Appearances?
I see where you're coming from.
I've got to say, so, like, I never really got into Made in Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I was never... I watched Towie, like, because it was on, but Geordie Shore, I was a huge... Like, for me, it was the one I could relate to the most because I was about the same age. It was up north. I was at uni in Sunderland at the time, and it was just...
No,
me. Yeah, it was just what all me and my mates used to do, go out and get mortal... and like I love that show, genuinely love that show, and I don't watch it anymore because I've just not watched it for a few years, but I watched
You're in a different place now as well.
Yeah, and I thought it was great, that show. Do you still speak to the guys and stuff? And
So honestly, I get asked this all the time, and I feel really bad. We had Nathan Henry, who's one of the newer cast members. We've had him on the podcast really recently, and he is such a nice guy. And whereas, like, I absolutely wish all of the cast really, like, I wish them well. I've just not spoke to them in years, and like, it's not. There's no great big drama or any animosity. It's just one of those things, like, you know, when you leave, when you leave
a job, when you leave a job, it's
you don't keep in touch with Barry from accounts, do you? So it's exactly the same thing. And I love when I see them doing well, you know, getting their own shows, getting their own like collaborations. Like, it's lovely. I feel like it's a win for all of the Northeast whenever anybody does well. But yeah, I don't keep in touch with them. Our lives have gone in very different directions. And I actually was always, in terms of the girls, like a little bit older than the other lasses, and I had a potential to be so much more boring than the rest of them. Yeah, we grew apart quite fast, unfortunately.
Well, it was a great show. It was a great show.
Thank you.
Seems like ages ago, but it was such a good show. I loved it.
12 years, Jordan.
Very of its time, I suppose, but great, wasn't it?
It was. I think it's I don't know. They did a reunion not that long ago. It's not been aired yet, and they asked me to go back, and I was like, absolutely fucking not. There's just no way. I mean, I have like 2 glasses of wine with dinner now, and like I'm already like making eyes at Erkan, like, let's get home, son. Like, I just can't imagine the way I'd act if I had anything more than that. And then I'm hungover the next day. No, I'm just not in a not in a very Geordie Shore place anymore.
Good on you.
I've hung up those stilettos. Lads, before I let you go, here at Vicky, Pattison and Secret 2, we do always ask our gorgeous guests to give our lovely listeners a couple of pearls of wisdom. And I mean, William, you're absolutely full of them. I'll never forget the theatre tips. But more than anything, I want to know what your secret to having an unlikely friendship is. Because I'm a bit jealous. I only have likely friendships. I'd love to, like, you know who I was friends with, which is a bit unlikely? Paul Burrell.
Oh. Well, never mind.
I was hesitant about bringing that up. But yeah, I wonder what your secret is, lads, to forming an unlikely friendship.
I think too much. We're going in a direction, this is going to get quite serious now. We're going in a direction in life, not just in the UK, where people are afraid just to say what they feel because people are going to be offended. Well, you know, people are going to be offended at some point. You are going to be offended in life, okay? That life happens. And you're going to be offended because you are not the only person on the planet. There are billions of other people on the planet who all have a different belief system, different upbringing, different experiences. And no one person owns sort of the moral high ground. Everybody is as wrong as they are right. And so I think being able to have a broad church of friends and experiences is good, and just don't take life too seriously, and then life should fall into place and you can get along with, I say people like Jordan, that's really rude to Jordan, but you know, for example, on paper we're not meant to get along, but we do get along because we respect each other, and I think that's also what is lacking.
I think that's really good advice, isn't it?
Definitely.
What about you?
William and I have very different political views, very different opinions and views.
Jordan is incredibly right-wing. He makes Margaret Thatcher look like Jeremy Corbyn.
Yeah, you can't say that.
We've actually got a pact that we just don't talk about politics on the shows or anything like that. There's no point. There's too many people doing it anyway. But we have very different. I'm not that.
All the best, mate.
Yeah, like we have very different political views and different views on everything in life. And you are going to meet and work with people and potentially live with people and have people. Or
marry. You could marry them.
Have people over for Christmas who are in your family that have completely different views to you. I mean, as long as they're not like awful views that are like very bad. But we both feel that there's just too much people from different sides screaming at each other these days, and nobody listens. And it's perfectly fine to have friends that don't share the same views as you. You just take the piss and have a laugh and get little digs in when you've had a drink. And, and that's what we do. And just don't take yourself serious. And it's like in a relationship, just compromise.
Yeah. I think so. Me and Erkan, like my fella, we're really different on the surface, you know. He's like got a Turkish Cypriot background, like there's not a traditional bone in my body. I think like there's loads of things, but as long as you know your fundamentals, like being a good person, like wanting to be, fuck me fucking buzzer, bear with me.
Oh no, you're just getting to a good bit there. Just getting to a good bit.
I'm just doing a podcast.
That is brilliant.
So funny.
You've got to keep that in. You've got to keep that in. That was so funny.
It's my personal trainer. She's early. So as long as your fundamentals being like respectful, kind to others, wanting other people to do well, as long as they're the same, like I kind of think you can get on with anyone, right?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love that.